usually I find an article I don't like and then rip it to shreds, but now we're going to read an article that I do agree with. I mean, we'll still rip people to shreds, but it won't be the person who's writing the article for once. It's so rare for me to find an article I actually agree with. Democrats have become a dangerous threat to our institutions. Now, most normies, most mainstream people will view that as hyperbole and just partisanship, and you're just pandering to the radical right. And it's just, but I'm not the radical right, and I completely agree with that statement. So can I just point out, first of all, women must be heard. That's a very dangerous threat to our institutions of this country when you believe that half of the entire population must be believed without a doubt, without any evidence, without any thought to it whatsoever. It's just 50% of the entire population based on gender. Boom, we must believe them no matter what. That is incredibly dangerous, and that is why no society ever has that rule, because that is so fucking stupid. I'm gonna try to keep my cussing down to a minimal, which I have no idea how it's gonna turn out, but let's just try. When you read really infuriating shit, it's kind of hard to not curse. But, oh, no, I'm not going to get distracted by that. I can go on. I've already talked with Brett Kavanaugh for about 2 videos. I've already explained why that sign is stupid. I'm not going to get dragged into it because people have been talking about it for weeks. There's really no point in keep talking about it. Liberals' inability to distinguish between process and partisanship undermines the Constitution. When modern Democrats talk about preserving norms, traditions, or even the Constitution, they're really talking about preserving their preferred policies, which is entirely correct. The Democrats do not want to preserve any traditional American norms, or the Constitution for that matter, and we'll get into the Constitution later in the video. It makes them sound good when they say that. Oh, we want to preserve our norms and traditions, whenever they're advocating for extremely radical policies that this country has never enacted, and very few countries have enacted, and those who've had have failed miserably, which is why they're radical and they don't work. But that's beside the point. That's what they're really talking about. As I've said in previous videos, almost everything political that is said has a secondary meaning that they don't say. When you understand politics, you know what they're really asking for. For example, when liberals screech about equal work for equal pay when it comes to women, well, we already have that, so why are they asking for it? But what they're really asking for is that for institutions to not hire men who are qualified, instead hire women who may or may not be qualified into these high-paying jobs, in order to boost women's income in those jobs, so then, on paper, they will be paid the same as men for that job. They want to give women breaks when it comes to all the criteria it takes to get a raise or a promotion. They want institutions to be easy on women, so that women may get raises and promotions easier, so then that they be equal with men. That's what they really mean. Of course, catering to half the population and excusing laziness and not being able to do your job correctly in order to become quote-unquote equal is a horrible thing to say, and that's why no one in the world supports that. But that's what they really want. That's just an example. I try not to get off topic here. We know this because liberals, in quotation, because they are not liberal at all, they are extremely big government, extremely fascist. They're not liberal in any sense of the word. Have shown themselves not only to willing to destroy the legitimacy of institutions like the presidency, the Senate, Supreme Court, to protect these policies, they're willing to break down basic norms of civility as well. Now, as a libertarian, there are a lot of institutions that I don't want to exist, like the Department of Education, for example. No reason why it should be there at all. The Federal Reserve, no reason why it should be there at all. So, while I agree that not wanting institutions or not thinking that they're legit is not inherently an incorrect idea, when you're trying to make the presidency, the Senate, or the Supreme Court not be legitimate, then I have a problem with that, because those 3 things are all allowed under libertarianism. There's nothing wrong with those institutions. The Democrats are going after the wrong institutions, in my opinion. Take the example of Hillary Clinton. In the very first sentence in her new scaremongering essay, which makes the case that America's democratic institutions and traditions are under siege, she attacked our democratic institutions and traditions, which is, again, exactly correct. Again, she is not wrong when she says that democratic institutions and traditions are under siege, but she fails to mention that her own party is the culprit of this. Sorry to go back, I missed a sentence earlier in the first paragraph. They're willing to break down basic norms of civility as well. When you have screeching fucking lunatics barging into the Supreme Court trying to stall a nomination of someone because he won't allow you to murder your baby, yeah, that's really breaking down norms of civility. Okay, I don't care how horrible a guy is who's being elected or being confirmed or whatever. I'm not going to barge into the room that this is happening and just screech incoherently. I will come home, make a video, and then screech incoherently about him. When you have people gathering for, not protests, but like free speech conventions or a rally for free speech or a rally for any type of right that they hold dear or they think is under attack, whatever, then you have these Antifa thugs come up, beat the crap out of them, and then act like the victim, and then don't allow them for free speech. Yeah, that breaks down the norms of civility of freedom of speech. These norms that we've had in this country for hundreds of years are now being eroded, and now people, in some cases, are afraid to go out and voice their opinion because they're scared of being attacked. We have hearings and procedures that are being delayed for hours because of whiny adult babies. These are just two examples I pulled off the top of my head, which the Democrats are breaking down the norms of civility. Okay, let's go back to where we were. It's been nearly 2 years since Donald Trump won enough electoral college votes to become president of the United States. The piece begins. The intimation, of course, widely shared by the mainstream left, is that Trump isn't a legitimate president, even though he won the election in the exact same way every other president in U.S. history has ever won an election. According to our long-held democratic institutions and traditions, you become president through the Electoral College, not the non-existent popular vote. Again, this guy's David Harsanyi, I guess how you say his last name. He is 3 for 3 in being correct in his paragraphs. This is how every single president in the history of the U.S. universe has been elected. But suddenly Democrats had a problem with it whenever they become radicalized, and they lost. Obama furthered the radicalization of the left. And then when 2016 came around, they didn't get their way, and now they are attacking the way we elect a president. Which, again, I would go up to a 5-10 minute tangent on why we have the Electoral College and not the popular vote. If you want answers to why we have that and not the popular vote, just Google it. Again, attacking institutions and traditions and the norms of this country. So when Clinton or writers at Vox, The Atlantic, or Politico, or new liberal favorite Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said it's well past time we eliminate the Electoral College, a shadow of slavery's power on America today that undermines our nation as a democratic republic. You're either tragically ignorant about our system or cynically delegitimizing it, or maybe it's both, which is entirely correct. Did I have to say that for every single paragraph? The Electoral College isn't ornamental. It exists to undercut the tyranny of direct democracy and ensure the entire nation is represented in national elections. You ever hear of the phrase, the tyranny of the majority? That is one of the main reasons why we have this college instead of just whoever gets the most votes win. Because then as soon as any group, whether it be by gender, age, religion, race, whatever, as soon as they get to 51%, they can just win everything and then push the country towards, usually, radicalism and ruin. That is why we have these checks and balances. This is why the Founding Fathers designed this country for this reason, and why we function better than in ancient Greece, for example, when it was a direct democracy and every single citizen, which was a white landowning male, could vote directly for someone, and they just tallied up the votes and see who won. Again, Google it to see why that didn't work in ancient Greece. When you attack it, you're not condemning Trump. You are, in a very palpable way, attacking a core idea that girds much of our governance. While this in mind is not surprising that the anti-majoritarian Senate is also suddenly problematic for many Democrats, what a surprise that they don't hold the Senate. They didn't attack the anti-majoritarian Senate whenever they held it. But as soon as they don't have it, then suddenly it's problematic. When an NBC reporter commentating on a Washington Post article says the idea that North Dakota and New York get the same representation in the Senate has to change, he's probably not ignorant about why the founders implemented proportional voting, or why there is a difference between the House and Senate, or why the 10th Amendment exists. He simply favors a system he thinks will allow liberals to force others to accept his preferred policies. Yes, this is why we have two branches of the legislative government, one that is proportional voting and one that isn't. The House, as a state gets bigger, more population, it gets more House members. A state only gets 2 senators no matter what, no matter how big or small it is. So this number constantly grows, this one stays the same. Which means the Senate, by default, is more powerful than the House. Again, this is all by design. Because when we were creating this country, the big states wanted the whole legislative branch to act like the House, and that they could win easier, they could push through the legislation that they wanted more easier. That's how you say it. Meanwhile, the smaller states didn't want to get blown out of the water every single time they tried anything. So they're like, no, each state needs a certain amount of people in the legislative branch, and then that's it. So the founding fathers, okay, let's have a compromise. Let's do both ideas in 2 separate legislative bodies. This is how this country was formed, on compromise. Oh my God, if only we could do that today. It's a cool shirt. Anyway, that's the thing, of course. North Dakotans can't make New Yorkers ban abortion, even if Roe versus Wade is overturned. They can't make New Yorkers legalize. Man, I can't talk today. Legalize assault weapons if Heller is upheld. But New Yorkers are perfectly content to force North Dakotans to accept both abortion and gun control. So then surely nothing can be more frustrating to the contemporary liberal than the existence of originalist courts that values the self-determination of individuals and states. Yes, this is the whole point of this country. This is why the states are such radically different. Because it's a combination of different types of people working together for the idea of the country. That's why if you want, I don't know, low taxes, warm weather, and you can carry guns, then go to Texas. If you like cold weather, you like high taxes, and what was the other thing I said? Oh, wait. You like cold weather, high taxes, and you don't like guns, then go to New York. Okay, that's how it works. Okay, I can't believe I explained this. That is why the effort to destroy Brett Kavanaugh wasn't only about the nominee, but the legitimacy of the Supreme Court. When you can't corrode constitutional protections by seating justices that simply ignore the words and purpose of the founding documents, you can proactively smear the people whose decisions do uphold these values. So that's the whole point. The Democrats want to change the Constitution radically or get rid of a big chunk of it. And one way to do that is to put a bunch of liberals on the Supreme Court, and then you can interpret the Constitution differently, and that's how we get different laws over the decades. Well, that works fine when the president is a Democrat and he gets to pick the Supreme Court justice, now doesn't it? But when literally Hitler is in the White House, well, you can't do it that way, can you? Well, what's the other way you can do it? You can screech like incoherent fucks every single time the president nominates a conservative Supreme Court nominee, and then wait until you keep on doing that until the elections are held, and then you might gain seats in the Senate or House, and then you can stall the nomination for months, or if they hope they can win in 2020, which they won't, then a Democrat would be a president, and then he can pick a liberal Supreme Court judge. This is how they're skirting the rules and getting around the rules this country is founded on. They can't do it the normal way. They can't just win an election and pick a decent fucking candidate besides Clinton, for God's sakes. And then Clinton would have picked. Actually, if they picked anyone else but Clinton, a Democrat would be in the White House, and then he or she would have been able to pick 2 Supreme Court justices. But you didn't do that, did you, Democrats? No, you had to pick the worst candidates in recent history, which is why so many Democrats went to third party or the Republicans, and which is why Hillary lost. Oh, we're getting sidetracked. The whole point of that paragraph was that the Democrats can't get their way through normal means. Now that's why they're acting like shrieking incoherent banshees. By smearing people enough so that they're trying to bully Trump or bully other people to bully Trump and say, you know, Brett Kavanaugh, I know he hasn't been actually convicted of anything because there's no evidence or witnesses, but the pressure is too much. We have to pick someone else. That's what they're trying to do. When this complete old hag, this witch harpy who I despise, when old rotting hag who rejected basic tenets of due process throughout the Kavanaugh hearings argues Kavanaugh is going to be on the Supreme Court with a huge taint and a big asterisk after his name, she, like many others, is giving her followers a pretense to ignore the court. If there is a taint, a properly constitutionally mandated solution exists. Provide evidence and impeach him. Otherwise, there is no asterisk. Republicans didn't break any constitutional norms. Trump nominated a candidate with a blemish-free 10-year record on the D.C., how do you say that word? Appellate Court. If there is a taint on Kavanaugh, like Hirono says, like, oh, I'm trying not to curse. It's so hard not to curse about her. If there was a taint, then get the evidence for it and impeach him. But you can't do that, can you? Because there's no evidence. Every single witness that was mentioned between the people who accused Kavanaugh of doing things, all the witnesses that either said, I have no idea who that woman is, I have no idea what she's talking about, or they didn't respond. Again, they can't do it through the constitutionally mandated solution. So then they're going to make up shit and then hope the same result happens. But it didn't, because logic prevailed. Thank God. I don't even like Kavanaugh that much. I mean, he's okay. One of the main reasons why I like him is because he supports the Second Amendment, which is the most important right, but I don't like his stance on the Fourth Amendment. So this is a guy that I'm kind of like wishy-washy about, that I don't even particularly love or hate. And yet, I'm happy when he got nomination because that is how the country is supposed to work. He is quote-unquote qualified. Do I think he interprets the Constitution correctly and everything? No. Do I think anyone interprets the Constitution correctly 100% of the time in government? No. No one like that exists. There's too many issues for that there's hundreds of issues that someone can have an opinion on. The odds that you find someone in government that agrees with literally every single one of them is slim to none. There's always going to be something that you disagree with someone on. Ron Paul's the closest, but I mean, heck, if we go through all the hundreds of different issues, I'm sure I'm bound to find one minor one I didn't agree with him on. Another tangent. Sorry, I keep on going on these tangents. Okay, so we already went through that paragraph. Republicans in the Judiciary Committee had hearings in which Democrats could question the nominee. Republicans even added additional hearings after Democrats leaked uncorroborated accusations. Republicans then asked for a 7th FBI investigation into the nominee before voting. Then the entire Senate voted. There is no asterisk. There is no taint. Like, Hirono. Fucking God. Hate her so much. So stupid. Listening to her just blab on like a brainless buffoon was just unbearable. Just completely unbearable. Of course, if Democrats had been in charge of the Senate, they would have been free to shell the nomination, just as the Republicans had done with Merrick Garland when they adopted the Biden rule. If Democrats had followed the norm in the Senate in 2013, rather than using the nuclear option, they might have been able to filibuster Kavanaugh. They didn't. Instead, during this entire constitutionally mandated process we just went through, Democrats demonstrated a malicious disregard for the institution. Not only by slandering those they disagreed with, slandering, that's a huge fucking part. Anyone who supported Kavanaugh automatically supported rape and hated women. How am I going to have a conversation with someone if that's what you think about me? We can't even see common ground to get to even have a conversation about. When everything you don't like, hates women, is a rapist, is Hitler, is a fascist, then again, like I say in all these videos, we operate in different planes of reality, and there is no way for me to communicate anything to you, or vice versa, and there's no way we can work with anything. That's like a pessimistic view of looking at this, but I'd like someone to prove me wrong. To say, oh yeah, even though like they're like legit on the ninth plane of existence and you're on the regular plane of existence, you can still communicate with them. You can still get stuff done. Here's why: A, B, C, D, F, G. I haven't seen those reasons yet. Okay, so the rest of the article goes on and on and on. Whatever. I'm not going to drone on forever because I want to go to the main point. So we're going to wrap this up in a few minutes. How the Democrats are chipping away at almost every single right we have in the Constitution. You can just go on Wikipedia and look at the different amendments. And you can see, let's just take the first 10 because that's the Bill of Rights. You can just see how they are attacking all of these rights, either softly or just outright. And this whole Kavanaugh thing really showed that they do not agree with the Fifth Amendment, the Sixth Amendment, the Seventh Amendment, 3 out of the 10 Bill of Rights. No, they didn't oppose the amendment as they existed, but the idea of this right, the idea that not only should the government do these things, but we should do these things in our everyday lives whenever we're interacting with people. That's why innocent until proven guilty is not just a government like mandated action that they implement in everything that they do, they're just supposed to. It's not just a rule for government to follow, it's a rule for the citizens to follow in order for society to function. But obviously the radical Democrats through this whole process have shown they don't give a flying shit about right to due process. Actually going through a procedure to find someone guilty or not guilty, they just say something, and then if it's someone you don't like or someone you're opposed, then you believe them, and they're automatically labeled with the crime that you told them, that you accused them of. There's no due process. There's no, like, trial by jury. The person didn't have any rights. Kavanaugh couldn't confront the accuser. All that stuff. Just all these ideas, trial by jury, just none of this happened. They didn't believe that Kavanaugh should be judged by his peers or the Senate or whatever. No, they just wanted to believe women. Believe women. Women must be heard. That's it. That's the end of it. A woman says something against Kavanaugh, boom, that's it. They don't believe in these ideas. You can already go on YouTube to listen to other people explain it better to me how Democrats are attacking the freedom of the press, the freedom of speech, freedom of right to assemble, like we talked about with Antifa and Black Lives Matter, attacking people they don't agree with. Second Amendment, okay, everyone just agrees. I don't have to go into that one. How Democrats don't like the Second Amendment, which is the most important amendment we have. They also, tied with the Second Amendment, is the idea of the right to life. You have a right to exist. You have a right to live. Someone just can't kill you, and there will be no consequences. In order to protect yourself, in order to guarantee your right to life, you should be able to have guns. Democrats don't agree with that either. They don't agree with the right to life to the millions of babies they have killed through abortion. So they don't believe adults should have right to life because you should be armless and helpless for anyone who doesn't obey the laws to kill you. And they don't believe the right to life for babies either. Lastly, the 10th Amendment, which people don't talk about that much, that the federal government should only possess the powers delegated by the people through the Constitution. Meaning, the government should only do what the Constitution tells it to, and that's it. But yet, we have all of these policies that the federal government does that the Constitution doesn't say a rat's ass about. The Democrats do not believe this amendment at all. They believe that the government should do what they personally believe is the right thing for the government to do. Not follow the Constitution. They believe they know better than the Founding Fathers and what the government should do. And that's what? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 out of the 10 Bill of Rights. That's 6 out of the 10 amendments out of the Bill of Rights Democrats do not believe in. And we can go into the other ones. Like the third one, obviously, it has no bearing on today's society. We can go to the other ones later, but we're already 23, 24 minutes into this. How much of a case did I build for this? I mean, this took me a while to get to that. But yes, when David Harsanyi says that Democrats have become a dangerous threat to our institutions, he's not just pandering to the radical right. He's not just saying what the right wants to hear. That is objectively true. And the Kavanaugh hearings and their attack on the Constitution has proven that.